Yay, it works. I don't know. Is anybody there? It's so strange.
Nothing for me here yet.
Nothing? Okay. Oh, there's 5-3. There's people. I don't know if they see me.
Yep, it's live now.
You can see now? Oh, okay, so all the 4 people that are online are in this house. Great. Hello. I don't know. Live streaming is such a strange concept. What? Okay. Okay, great. You guys see me. What do you want me to talk about? I've been. Oh, another person from Vancouver. Hello. I was just like, this whole week, it's Wednesday, has been about that serially mount mod thing and EF mounts and how that doesn't work. Um, Blake, help me out here. I don't know what I'm going to tell people.
You're doing Q&A, and
yeah. Okay. So yeah, I guess this is a Q&A. So I need questions from you guys, and I'd love to know what you guys want to see in this channel.
Also, you just got a $5 super chat.
Oy.
Aram, I assume that's how you pronounce it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for our test live stream here.
Yeah, our test live. So the strange aspect ratio is because we're streaming from the A7S and a Lomo square front 50 mil. It's a bit big, but since this whole thing is supposed to be about Anamorphic, I figured we should stream an Anamorphic as well. What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life if not to shoot widescreen and get oval bokeh and lens flares? Honestly. Yeah. What made me jump into Anamorphic? Sure. Yeah, that's a good one. Back in 2012, I was in Brazil and I was getting close to finishing my film production degree in University of São Paulo. And at that time, the Canon 7D was a big deal. So everybody wanted to shoot on a 7D. And everybody had Canon L lenses because photographers and those were just accessible. So all the shorts looked the same. All of the films looked exactly the same. And in my class, in the class before mine, and the class before that, and what seemed to be the class after that. So I wanted to make my graduation project about achieving a different look while still not breaking the bank. And that's how I got into Anamorphic. So I started buying a bunch of lenses. I bought like an LA 7200. I bought a Hypergunner Hi-Fi. I bought a Lomo square front 50 mil, which I never managed to mount on a Canon camera. And I started experimenting with that. And that was the beginning of it. That's how things got started. From there, I shot a project, a 10-minute pilot using that equipment and Magic Lantern on a Canon 5D3 and a Canon 50D. And that kind of it was a very unique graduation project, especially for that school where people were mostly focused on theory. And then after that, I came to Vancouver and I was like, no, I don't want to shoot stuff anymore. I just want to be into visual effects. But it didn't turn out. So after 2 more years, a year here in Vancouver and a year since the conclusion of the project, I realized that the questions I had answered in Portuguese were not answered in English yet. So I translated the whole thing, and that's what kickstarted this channel and the very early videos where I shot still with the Canon. And I pledged that I would buy no gear for this channel. What a lie! But yeah, that's how I got here. Um, how much tons of equipment do I own? Actually, I've been downscaling. I've had more north of like 50 lenses, 10 anamorphics at one time. I think 2016. And from there, I've been downscaling to only the stuff that I really use. So I have these Lomos, which is a very long journey. You can see in previous videos. I have an Iskorama that is in Ukraine, hopefully being serviced by Max. I'm looking at you, Max. And I'm putting together a couple rigs because I'm testing a theory and seeing if we're there in terms of rig building capabilities. Oh, and I have the Siri lens. But so I guess that's like 5 or 6 anamorphics and 2 sets of sphericals, a Russian set and a contact set. Which over insert aperture option for the Siri anamorphic lens? Mine is modded for the 1.5 because that combines with the 1.33 and it gives you a 2 times oval bokeh, but I'm seeing excellent results from people using a 2 times oval just because the highlights get narrower and that is a fast lens, so you can afford to lose a little bit more light. And the character just gets way more pronounced. So I'd say 2 times if you're feeling bold, 1.5 if you're into what's mathematically accurate. I'm the one for the mathematically accurate stuff. Yeah, what else? These I have videos coming up about these Lomos. I have videos coming up about the Soviet lens set, and I'm in the process of concluding a short film that I started shooting in 2018, and that's been a very long post-production process. A lot of time, too many visual effects, and all shot in anamorphic using the Iskorama modified by Max from Exo Optic, now the Maxi scope. How does the Helios, the Galios 58 compare to the Siri? The Galios has a much narrower field of view, and it's, well, for one, it's much cheaper and it's a much lighter lens. So if you don't need the anamorphic glass for it, if your project can get away with just anamorphaking, I would say the Galios is a great pick. It's the easiest lens to mod out of all of the mods I've done, and it's also the most resistant one. So if you drop it in the process, it's gonna be fine.
Why is the Galios also the Helios? Is that
Yeah.
how you pronounce it?
Yeah. So Helios is how we say it in English, or how I started saying it, and how I see lots of people saying it. But then there's Russians that follow this channel, and I got corrected multiple times for saying Helios. It's like, Helios, what are you trying to do? This is not how we say it. The name of the lens is Galios. Just I don't know, you want to call people by their right name. So I figured I might as well incorporate the proper pronunciation into the videos. Learn something new every day. Thanks, Lucas. That's very encouraging. What would you think about anamorphic and actually using an anamorphic adapter for it? I think if you can get away with anamorphic, I like that better almost, especially because I haven't, due to the nature of the work in this channel, I've cobbled together setups without perfecting the way they're built. So I always have to deal with a lot of quirks. Like anamorphic projection lenses are known for having way too many quirks, and you have to deal with that on set. So anamorphic, you just keep your workflow, you get most of the look, you don't get the compression, but you get the ovals, you get the flares, you can enhance things in post, and you can have more control and have a faster flowing set. So I feel that's a huge advantage over the most of the DIY anamorphic methods, which is why I wrote the whole guide in the first place. Um, if the Canon R5 is going to work with the Ivoscope, I think it's going to be fine up to 50 mil. I don't think Canon's offering anamorphic modes. Canon has never been one to hype anamorphic. That's more of a Panasonic thing. Now Blackmagic is getting into it. Um, but I don't know. I don't like to put many bets or any bets in things that are not out yet. Things that are just announced or just rumored to be are not really my thing. This channel is all about things that are in the past. um, Okay, if you don't know anything about anamorphic and you want to get something that will work with the Sigma 18 to 35, go check out Vid Atlantic's rear Cinemorph filter, because it's a tiny thing you put on the back of the lens. You get ovals, you get flares. It works through the entire range, and it's just versatility from there. But if you want to get into actual anamorphic shooting, you're not going to be able to use that lens at all. Anamorphic telescopes and microscopes. A lot of anamorphic glass is used in telescopes. It's a very peculiar thing. A lot of prisms, like, they're used to widen your field of view, and then another element is used to de-squeeze it for your eye. But when you're watching planets, I guess you're not looking for bokeh or flares. So you see those lenses on eBay, but they are not useful for what we're trying to do here. At least I have never seen anything done with those things. I've been trying to pair the on the Fujinon lenses and the Anamorphic 65. I've been trying to get that combination for a very long time. I've talked to SLR Magic in the past, and they're like, "Yeah, our demo unit is out, but we're gonna send it to you." I tracked the Fujinon lenses here in Vancouver, so I can rent them and test both things together. But I'm still like waiting for SLR Magic. So if you got an Anamorphic 65 that is just sitting in your closet during quarantine, and you really want to see this review, just get in touch and we'll figure that out. I've had people send lenses for reviews in the past, and that was a great experience, and I'm down. About the FVD35A, yes, I have one on the way right now, so I'm going to be talking about that in the near future. Can't promise exactly when, things are a bit clogged, but yes, there will be a review about it. Any Fujifilm. I think the only one that's like natively compatible with Fujifilm is the Siri for now, with the X mount. But the X mount is a very versatile mount because it allows you to adapt pretty much anything onto it. So find lenses that you like as staking lenses and jump into anamorphic adapters. Don't wait for the perfect full package to come by your door. It's not going to happen. Have you tried taking the Siri or an actual anamorphic lens, anamorphic adapter in front? I have not taken the anamorphic part out of the Siri, but the Photon, which is one of the Lumos I have, comes apart. Like, you can take out the anamorphic part out of it and pair it with other lenses. And JSD, a friend of mine from Japan, did pair that with the Nocticron 42.5 mil, and he was blown away by the results. So I think it would work, but it all becomes a double focus setup. So there's no, I'm just gonna get this thing that's working here and put this with this other thing that's working here, and they're gonna work together beautifully. Just there's a lot of compromise when shooting scope. Um, about anamorphic telescopes, I don't know if I can put something together, at least not at this point. Um, it's a good suggestion, so I'm gonna write it down. But I don't know how far out there, like how much work is required into that. I'm gonna have to look into it. um, my F people about the serial mounts. Yeah, so I recently asked people about how interested they would be into swapping mounts of the Siri lens. The reason I asked is not because Siri is making new mounts, and also not because I wanted to be convinced that you can do whatever when money is available. Sure, yeah, you might, but trying to adapt the Siri lens to EF mount is not a good idea. Just, just stop. Just no. And that whole thing is because I'm working with a friend and trying to put together a system in which you can swap the Siri mount for different mounts aimed at mirrorless cameras. We're working out tolerances and how much that would cost and how long it would take to develop. So I wanted to get an assessment if there's interest and how much interest is there. But it's not related to Siri. And I'm assuming that if we develop something that works for the 50 and they release further focal lengths like the rumored 35, it's something that can be replicated for those lenses as well. So it's like a one fits all kind of solution, which I love. Less gear, more. What is the word? Results. That's the word. um, lesson learned series together on the set. Yeah. About the Lomo set, I'm shooting with the 50mm right now, and the 35 is sitting on the GH5 because I want to go out and shoot some tests today. It's sunny here for a change. But the 75 I haven't heard about since the beginning of COVID-19, so like early March, and I don't know when I'm getting it. So I have 2/3 of the set, but they still need some improvement. There's going to be an extensive review about that coming up in the next weeks. I have to get the footage first. Anamorph hack front filter. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of options that you can hack and quickly achieve some results. They're going to be not on par with the quality you would expect to like make a film or like this is the absolute greatest quality I've ever achieved in my camera. But if you look at Matthew Stern's channel, I'm gonna add a link to the description. You can find a few filters that he's experimented with, and the whole concept of anamorphaking is just you put some stuff together and it gives you the anamorphic look, but it's not real anamorphic. And the Siri on an FF camera not increased focal length by 1.5. How does this compare to an FF anamorphic lens? The Siri does a good job. It's a very versatile lens. It's one of my favorite pieces of gear right now. And I don't know if I can compare it to anamorphaking. Like just the cost of it. For the cost of the Siri, you can put together a whole set of anamorphics. It's that different. So you have to choose between having one focal length and kind of hacking your way into getting a wider field of view and a narrower field of view, and just having a whole set of lenses that you can swap for different characteristics. I would pick the anamorphic set over the single Siri for now. My girlfriend's she's a great dancer. I don't think she needs dance school. And Zcam, I would love to strengthen my relationship with Zcam. I talked to them at NAB last year. They showed some interest, but all of my NAB emails went unanswered. So I guess I gotta insist. If anyone's got a contact at Zcam, let me know. I'd love to team up with those guys because the Panasonic GH5 is just killing everything for me. It's just anamorphic camera. This is the one. um, would you use a back lens? Thank you. This is great. Look at that. Teamwork. Back lens of a 32-2 and a front lens with the 1.5, 1.75 in the middle. So the question is, if you get the front of the Molar 32 2x and the back of the Molar 1632 1.5 and put them together, if you're going to get a 1.75 lens. Honestly, I don't think so, but I don't have anything to back that thought. I see a lot of people combining fronts and rears from different scopes. And both scopes being used in those combos are 2x, but the resulting Franken lens is 1.5. So I don't think that would work. I would also advise strongly against it, considering those two are very rare lenses. Yes, anamorphic live stream. We're gonna push this harder. Let's add some lens flares. What can I do for lens flares here? Here we go. Now I got some lens flares.
I can't even see.
It's gonna show up eventually. Oh, there it is. It worked. We got rainbow flares and all. For science, attach. Yes. So a question about adding a scope to an anamorphic lens. That's actually why anamorphics began to exist. Because folks were using 1.33 lenses on regular spherical taking lenses, and you get great flares and you get some compression, but you definitely don't get any oval bokeh. And so you would modify the aperture for an oval insert, and then you would get squeeze, you would get flares, and you get ovals, and you'd get like the full package, but it's just 1.33. It's not a 2 times lens. 1.33s are notably easier to work with in lighter setups. So an anamorphic and an anamorphic in front would give you exactly what you're looking for, I believe. It can make a super narrow bokeh, which is pretty interesting, I reckon. It's something that I can showcase here in the near future, I guess. What anamorphic lens am I using right now? This is a Lomo 50mm square front. It's an overkill for what we're doing. 100% an overkill. Yeah, I always thought that I could just visit Russia and find Lomos in every used camera market, but my experience from visiting Japan and having the same thought process was it just doesn't happen. It did happen, like the first store that I got in had a scope on display. It was a Hypergoner Stop, or STOP. That had never been there before, but after that find, all the other stores I went to, no more scopes at all. So it's more of a myth or wishful thinking than a reality. I also know people in Russia and they're not swimming in Lomos. Thank you, Aram. Thank you very much. Best anamorphic lens I've ever used. Atlas is pretty good. I haven't like personally tried Cooks or Koas or PS Techniques or Glasswork. Like all of the high tier stuff I've stayed away from. Not because I don't like them, but because I never have the budget for them. I have these Lomos. I like the vibe. I like their character. I think I like them more than I like Atlas. Please don't hate me, Forrest. I'm still joining your presentation in 2 days. But I think my favorite, my pick so far is still the Iskorama. Even having played with the Lomos, there's something about the simplicity and the compact size of the ISCO that's just, I don't need anything more than this. It's 1.5, but it's just so easy to use and small and light. You're welcome, Wayne. I'm glad that was useful. Slightly bigger than 4x3. It's a camera. So, about cameras that are fit for anamorphic. Basically, any camera can shoot anamorphic. This is an A7S with a 2x scope. And here we are. It's working just fine. And if I were to record this, it would still look just fine in 4K. So there's no right camera or wrong camera. Anamorphic modes help, but I'm gonna expand on that in a little bit in a future video because they're mostly overrated. You can look my previous videos on how to crop and how de-squeeze and how to take into account the shooting aspect ratio and your delivery aspect ratio, but it's a long process, so I'm not going to go over it right now. But the resource is there. Just go back a few videos and you'll find it. What do you think? Whatever happened to the cat eye aperture blades? Yeah. I keep pitching the idea of an adjustable oval aperture to people. I pitched it to Siri. I pitched it to John Barlow, the maker of the Rectilux. He showed me a design once that it was like, yeah, this can be done, and a bunch of others, but it hasn't taken off yet. I think it gets pretty limiting the more you stop it down, but I guess I would need some engineering friends that can elaborate on that. I would love that. Like, that would be the killer combination for a 1.33 or 1.5 squeeze lens. You just put an oval aperture in there, and boom, you have the full look of a 2x lens, but still just like maximizing your sensor usage. What camera specs matter more? Resolution, sensor size, high frame rates, raw recording, ergonomics. I think sensor size is a pretty big deal. I'll take that back. It's not. Sensor size is a big deal, but you can't get carried away. I don't think I'm gonna pursue large format anamorphic shooting. I don't think that's a healthy goal. What I've been trying to do is actually step back from full frame into Super 35 because it was in Super 35 and it is in Super 35 the most of the anamorphic films that we watched and stuff that inspires us has been shot on. It's not full frame, so why are we pursuing these giant sensors and bigger lenses and more expensive equipment when we're perfectly fine with smaller sensors? I don't understand, but I guess I'm beat. So resolution, it has to be 4K. I wouldn't shoot more than 4K. I wouldn't shoot less than 4K in this day and age. Ergonomics is a big deal. I guess ergonomics is the thing. Adding cages to my cameras simplified rigging a lot, and it really sped up the workflow on set. So ergonomics is my pick. Boom. There you go. Thanks. Canon EOS R 40mm pancake and for 1.33 SLR Magic. Yep, I think that's a good combo, especially to start out. Like the Pancake 40 is a great lens to pair with SLR Magic's Anamorphots. You can go with the Compact 40, which is actually on sale at B&H. There's a link. I can post links here, right? Oh shit. I can't curse.
No, it's good.
I could find links. I'm gonna post them in the comments for this afterwards. And the volume is low. I guess I can talk lower. Thank you. I shoot ISCO Ultrastar 2x with Canon 8D, and I feel world monitor, and it's hilarious. I scaled the footage 65% to avoid the panoramic look. Yes, finding a monitor that allows you to crop into the image so you can properly preview it is life changing. I just very recently learned how to use my 702 that way, thanks to Ollie Kember, who was here on the stream a little earlier and don't know if he's still around. But I always only had like the tiniest strip of image in the middle when shooting with a 2 times scope. And Ollie was like, you can just press these functions here, and in 30 seconds, I had a good crop, and I could just discard the black edges of the image. I'm like, oh my god, man, this is life changing. Thank you very much. Uh, so, yes, having a monitor that allows you to properly preview your footage is key for a good shooting scenario. The sharpest anamorphic lens is wide open that I have ever used. The Isco Ultrastar and the Schneider Cinelux are the sharpest ones. Uh, they're as sharp as your taking lenses. So if you got size taking lenses, they're gonna be as sharp as that. I mean, they won an Academy Award for technological innovation, so you can't just dismiss them as they're not gonna be sharp as my Milvis or Milvius, however they're called these days. Um, when I edit the anamorphic footage, do I have an order of what I do first? The first thing that I do is I de-squeeze everything because I want to see what's within my delivery format, and I want to see if there's any issue with misalignment or with mumps. Those things need to be dealt with, and those shots need to be flagged before I move further into the process of editing. So that's my order of operations. Then cutting, color, go back for VFX if needed, color again, delivery. What do you think is the best single focus solution? A lot of options. It's a bit of a controversial topic because when you talk about best, are we talking about best in performance? Or are we talking about best in cost? Or a cost performance ratio? Because if that's the case, then the Rapido FPD 16A is the best option. It's way cheaper than the Rectilux. The Rectilux has a little bit more of resolution, but at the same time, both focusers have had lots of issues in terms of construction. So it's a gamble. The rangefinder has a lot of blue flares that a lot of people aren't fond of. But it's also very cheap. It's also on sale at B&H. Like 300, not even $300. Fala Brasil. I hope the folks in Brazil are staying isolated and healthy. COVID is not doing very good to our country. And yeah, take care, guys. Thanks for joining. I don't have a gimbal. I've had 3 gimbals in my life, and I've used each of them once, not more than once. So I eventually sold them, and I don't want to have a gimbal. Would you use an anamorphic modded Gallius in any real production? Yes, yes, I would, and not only would, I have in several real productions. I've been nominated for cinematography awards and festivals with an anamorphic film. Did I tell them that I wasn't shooting anamorphic? No. Did they care? Of course not. As long as it looks good, it works. The film is called Multiverse Dating for Beginners, and if you just look that title up, you're gonna find it. Personal favorite taking lens. I shoot a lot with the contacts, as I said. I love them. They're amazing. But when you stop them down, you get little rupee shapes for out of focus highlights instead of ovals. So I've been exploring other options to try and smooth my bokeh, but I like the contacts. They're pretty clean. They don't interfere with the character of the anamorphic itself. Zcam f6 plus Nikkor 51.8 pancake and Ivoscope 1.5. That sounds pretty neat. I think you're gonna be fine with the 50 mil. You might have to do a little bit of cropping in post depending on the height of the Zcam sensor and if that's a 4x3 or 16:9 sensor. But you should be fine. The Ivoscope is a lens that I'm very curious to have time to review. I played with it a little bit last year, but a day is not enough. Rehousing the LA 7200. I have sketches for that. I have detailed sketches, plans, numbers. Not doing it. Vormax is actually Vornim from Vormax Lenses is actually pitching that idea on Facebook. So if you want to check out the Anamorphic Shooters group, you're going to find more information about it. He seems to also be changing it to 1.5 squeeze instead of 1.33. I just don't find the lens worth the investments. Like it's $1,000 lens. How much more are you going to pour into rehousing it when you can just like get the lettuce anamorphics for 1600 and that has bigger glass, cleaner performance, and a focusing system. I don't know. Alright, have a line cut a template on your camera to live preview properly. So if I ever use crop marks for properly previewing anamorphic shots, yes, every single time. Even when I'm not shooting anamorphic, I'm just shooting straight up spherical, I use frame guides or crop marks so I know how the picture would look if I decide to crop. I've worked on way too many projects that were meant to be 16:9 and later on the director changed their mind and they're like, no, you know what? We can go for a narrower aspect ratio. So having those things on set and being able to frame properly for it was a big difference. And it was very useful. Would you cooperate? Anamorphic lenses manufacturers and design budget lens anamorphic together. If I would, I gotta stop reading the question and then repeating the question. That's something to work on for the next time. So the question is if I would work in cooperation with lens manufacturers for a product aimed at the low budget end. I've given lots of feedback to Siri. I've given lots of feedback to SLR Magic. I've had calls with different companies. I can't say anything about it yet because I don't like rumors. But I've been working towards that goal, and hopefully it'll come through. But I'm only going to mention it when it's real. I once made a joke, people got upset. So yes, I would. I would work with anamorphic lens manufacturers for a product that's aimed at the low budget market. We deserve it. It's not crazy. Like we are many. There is money to be made. So Raymond is asking if I tried anamorphic in 16mm film and the thoughts about the Transhed scope format. I'm not familiar. I would have to do some research on that. The only time I shot film was back at university in 2011. I've always been a very strong advocate of digital, although I've walked a few steps back on that argument recently because it's just an experience. You can try it out. So I don't know about 16mm film and anamorphic. I've seen various productions in that way, and they look great, and it seems fun. But the concept of film is so stressful that I can't imagine putting a DIY rig like the ones that I've been testing on this channel together in front of a 16mm roll of film and just rolling it. I don't know. Do I think if there will be a new version of the compact anamorphic adapter? Not sure. SLR Magic has been very quiet about new products recently. The last thing they did was actually the compact, which came out very close to the 65, and then nothing else. And everything has been on sale frequently. So I don't know if they're just like cashing in their investment and like halting new product development, or if they have something up their sleeve that they're building towards. I don't know. Hmm. 16 blade mod for the Gallias. Trick. The earlier versions of the Gallias, most silver versions, you can find them with 13 aperture blades. So you don't need to get a mod to get more blades. As for the mod itself, I haven't tried it, but I know both manufacturers that do it. It's a Roman from Retro Photo House and Iron Glass. I think they're both offering that. And it's just smoother bokeh. I don't see a problem with that. It seems very labor intensive to do though. About Shelma's Anamorphic, or Zelma's, I don't know how to pronounce it. Max Swan made a review about them, and his review is pretty thorough. Uh, the best I can say is check that out. I haven't heard from Zelma's. I was skeptical about them in the beginning when they were announcing things before they had lenses ready. That's not something that I love. So that's my opinion. Uh, what resolution or frame rate combo is more important to you? 1080 60, 1080 120, 4K 60. I would love 4K 120. I'm happy that the GH5 can do 4K 60. And I've shot a lot on the A7S at 1080 120 and just upscaled it because it still holds up. But 120 is very tempting. It just fills up the timeline like nothing else. So 60 is usually enough, and I wouldn't deliver anything smaller than 4K these days. My audio is low. How do we do that? Let's figure that out. Do I have to just talk louder? I can talk louder.
You can move the mic in. Also, I think we're, it's almost been an hour.
Yeah, it's almost an hour. So yeah, we're gonna go for a little bit more, but
yeah.
we're gonna be wrapping things at 12. Yeah.
People to just like have this in here close
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Also,
Hello. Yes.
I
This is
think-
Blake, by the
Hi
way.
guys. We could see if
we can raise it.
there's also like a noise threshold or something, you know.
Okay. Elanju K3. Is K3 a camera? See the level of my knowledge about 16 mil anamorphic. Wow, 30. Isn't that a little excessive?
It should be good, hopefully.
Let's check the levels of that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. No, not clipping.
We're not clipping, so that's awesome.
Woohoo.
Good. Even just
All
turn
right.
that up.
Yay, that
So-
seems to work.
Hopefully that got rid of the noise gate as well. Who knows? This is live stream 2.0 time. Hopefully that sounds a bit better.
All right. Last few questions. Oh, nice. Okay. Thanks, Blake. It seems that it's much better now. Okay. Well, now we know. For the next time, we're going to start with the microphone here and really crank up the volume. My sister doesn't share the same anamorphic passion, but I'm still working on that. She's in a program, the same program that I went to here in Canada at Lingara College for directing and cinematography. So she often helps me shoot these videos. She's behind the camera sometimes, and she's always asking, why does this work that way? And I hope eventually I'll convert her into the widescreen family. About my girlfriend disagreeing regarding camera purchases, we have separate finances, and I think that's very important.
she doesn't disagree with the stuff that I buy. I also, as I mentioned earlier, I try to not to overbuy things. When I realized I had too much, I let go of a bunch of lenses. I sold gear. I've given away gear. I'm giving away gear constantly. I'm making this a thing now. And I forgot what I was going with that. But we had disagreements about me working too hard and shooting too much while we were supposed to just hang out. So that's a thing to watch out for. Okay.
Apparently, we're only one channel audio now.
Oh.
We could try. I think the only thing that made that happen is.
Thanks, Lucas.
I think it was probably this.
Audio.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. This is.
Yeah, we're gonna be
learning
better.
process.
Oh yeah, I think this doubled it up. I think. Let us know if that improved. No, I'm not corintiano. I barely care about soccer at all, or futebol in Portuguese. Now you went full left. Now I see everybody talking about the audio. Well, live and learn. That's the one thing I learned today. About the Koa B&H, I don't have one right now, so I can't answer that question. About the length of it, it's probably while focused to infinity, since the lens extends when you get to close focus. I've been asked a bunch of times if I would make this in Portuguese, and I would love to. Like, that's my graduation project. It's my native language, but it's such a small niche. Like, I can barely get an audience in English. The audience in Portuguese would be so much smaller for the amount of effort that I'm putting in. And, like, I don't know, guys. I'm not going to commit to it. Not at this point. Hang tight. Maybe in the near future. Any other collabs with Mathieu planned? Maybe. I hope he uses that Jupiter more. He's a great guy. I love the stuff that he makes. That's probably one of the few channels that I watch all the videos for. And I'm always looking for more collaborations to do. So if anyone's got a pitch or something that they want to develop in partnership with me or in this project of Anamorphic on a budget, send a message, leave a comment, send me an email. Just get in touch and we'll figure it out. That's both channels, but it's a bit muffled. Well, we're getting close to the end here, so we'll figure it out for the next one. There's going to be some time. It's going to work. Do I have a low anamorphic set? Yes, I do. It's supposed to be 3 lenses. Right now, I only have 2. One of them is right now on the camera. And I built fully built adapters versus... Besides ease of use, is there any other reasons? Do you find sharpness of Atlas versus adapters? So the question is comparing cine lenses versus a properly rigged adapter. I got tired of the whole quirky, janky adapter reality, and that's why I kind of pushed back and went for the Lomo set and the Escorama. But I come to realize that we finally have all the pieces to put together a bulletproof anamorphic setup, DIY style. And I think that's not going to be lacking in performance when compared to even like the Koa Cine lenses or Atlas in terms of performance. A lot of it comes down to your taking lenses. So you have to really figure out what you want from your taking lenses to complement the anamorphic character. I hope that helps. Matte boxes. Hate them. Used it once. Maybe. No, once for sure, maybe twice. Don't like matte boxes. Like, do you see my arms? I don't have the arm strength for this. I always shoot handheld. red stand clamp 45 days late. It doesn't sound too far from reality. If you watched the video where I was showing how to clean fungus from Gallia's 44 lenses a couple of weeks back, those lenses took 90 days to arrive. Roman was saying, like, I never had lenses this late. I think they've gone missing. And I don't know. It's weird time. The postal service is weird everywhere. If he shipped, I don't know, expect it, but 45 days late is a bit rough. What is most important when it comes to camera ergonomics? Weight is a big deal. Size is a big deal. Touch screen, I never cared about. I actually disliked it. The screen of my A7S II is wrecked, but I'm getting used to it on the GH5. Handheld is very important. Flippy screen, also changing with the GH5. And I'm just used to the idea that we need accessories when you're putting together a proper rig. Like, you have to monitor, send the signal for someone to monitor elsewhere. So you need a wireless transmitter. You need a bigger monitor or an EVF, because you can't judge sharpness from the 3-inch screen. So accessories will be a thing. A cage is key. I took the A7S out of the cage the other day, and I was like, this camera is so small. But yeah. Any recommendations on anamorphic lens under 1500? Lots of options. Check my chart. There's too many. The question is too broad. I'm sorry. I have an Iskarama. I own an Iskarama. Max, I see a trick question, but you're probably looking at it right now. So I don't have an Iskarama right now. Yes, I agree with Justin. Matte boxes are for people who don't like flares, and that's the whole purpose of this channel. If not for flares, then why? I can see here it's been an hour, so I'm going to wrap things up. This was a great experience. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm going to figure out how to improve this for the next time. I hope this field of view worked out. I'm going to try a different lens next time. I'm going to try to build in flares. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do anamorphic and anamorphic next time. And we'll figure it out. It's going to be better. Thank you so much for joining, and see you around. Bye-bye. Woo! Okay. And stream. Are you sure you want to end? Yes.
Good job.